Welcome to Battlefront Stories. Here we bring forgotten battles, real soldier diaries, and untold stories of war back to life. Witness history, one front line at a time. Dwight David Eisenhower was born on October 14, 1890, in Denison, Texas, at a time when the United States was still defining its role on the world stage. His family was of German ancestry, originally bearing the surname Eisenhower. He was the third of 7 sons raised in a household marked by poverty, discipline, and strict moral values. His father, David Eisenhower, worked long and exhausting hours in factories and dairies, while his mother, Ida Eisenhower, was deeply religious, emotionally reserved, and strongly opposed to war. She believed violence was morally unacceptable under any circumstances. This pacifist upbringing would later clash dramatically with Dwight Eisenhower's destiny as one of history's most influential military leaders. Shortly after his birth, the Eisenhower family moved to Abilene, Kansas, where Dwight spent most of his childhood. Life in Abilene was hard and unforgiving. Money was scarce, and every family member was expected to contribute. From a young age, Dwight worked odd jobs, delivered newspapers, and learned the value of discipline and endurance. As a child, he struggled with anger and frustration, often reacting impulsively. His mother once warned him that if he did not learn to control his temper, it would ruin his future. That warning left a deep mark. Over time, Eisenhower developed an unusual ability to suppress emotion, a trait that later became one of his defining leadership qualities. Academically, Eisenhower was competent but unremarkable. However, he excelled in sports, particularly American football. Physical toughness, teamwork, and discipline appealed to him more than books. His original ambitions were modest. He simply wanted a stable future. Financial constraints made civilian college almost impossible. So when the opportunity arose to enter the United States Military Academy at West Point, Eisenhower took it. Admission to West Point in 1911 marked the first major turning point in his life. At West Point, Eisenhower was not a star cadet. His grades were average, and he accumulated several demerits for minor disciplinary issues. He was competitive, hardworking, but far from exceptional in the eyes of his instructors. Football remained his greatest passion, and for a time he dreamed of an athletic career. That dream ended abruptly when he suffered a severe knee injury during a game. The injury permanently ended his football ambitions and forced him to rethink his future. Deprived of sports, Eisenhower redirected his focus toward military studies, leadership, and long-term planning. This moment transformed him from a restless cadet into a patient, methodical thinker. Eisenhower graduated from West Point in 1915 and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. When World War I erupted, he expected to serve on the front lines. Instead, he was assigned to training and administrative roles within the United States, primarily working with tank units. While many of his peers fought and earned glory overseas, Eisenhower remained behind. He later described this period as deeply frustrating and humiliating. Yet this experience proved invaluable. Eisenhower learned how large armies were organized, supplied, trained, and coordinated, knowledge that battlefield officers often lacked. After World War I, Eisenhower's career progressed slowly. Promotions were rare, and for years he remained relatively unknown. Many officers left the Army during this period of downsizing, but Eisenhower stayed, believing in long-term service. His fortunes changed when he became an aide to General Fox Connor, a brilliant strategist who recognized Eisenhower's potential. Connor mentored Eisenhower extensively, teaching him military history, strategic theory, and the political dimensions of warfare. He emphasized that wars must have clear objectives and realistic end goals. These lessons became foundational to Eisenhower's strategic philosophy. During the 1930s, Eisenhower served as an assistant to General Douglas MacArthur, one of the most famous and controversial figures in the U.S. Army. MacArthur was charismatic, ambitious, and deeply egotistical. Eisenhower often found himself overworked, underappreciated, and publicly criticized. Despite this, the experience was formative. Eisenhower learned how to manage powerful personalities, navigate political pressure, and operate under extreme stress. He absorbed lessons from MacArthur's strengths while silently rejecting his excesses. When World War II began, Eisenhower still lacked combat command experience. Yet his organizational skills and calm demeanor attracted attention in Washington. General George C. Marshall, the U.S. Army Chief of Staff, saw in Eisenhower a rare ability to think strategically while maintaining balance and humility. In 1942, Marshall made the bold decision to appoint Eisenhower as Supreme Commander of Allied forces in Europe. The choice shocked many senior officers. Eisenhower had never commanded troops in battle on such a scale. However, Marshall understood that modern warfare required coalition leadership more than individual battlefield brilliance. As Supreme Commander, Eisenhower faced unprecedented challenges. He had to unify British, American, Canadian, and Free French forces under a single command while managing rivalries and egos. Commanders like Bernard Montgomery, George S. Patton, and Charles de Gaulle were brilliant but difficult personalities. Eisenhower's leadership style relied on patience, diplomacy, and compromise. Rather than dominating others, he focused on maintaining unity. This ability to hold the alliance together became his greatest achievement. The ultimate test came with Operation Overlord, the Allied invasion of Normandy. The planning was immense and fraught with uncertainty. Weather conditions were unpredictable, German defenses were formidable, and failure would have catastrophic consequences. Eisenhower personally approved the final decision to proceed. On the eve of the invasion, he wrote a note accepting full responsibility in case of failure. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces landed in Normandy. Despite heavy casualties, the operation succeeded, marking the beginning of Nazi Germany's defeat. As Allied forces advanced across Europe, Eisenhower continued to make difficult and controversial decisions. He restrained aggressive commanders like Patton, prioritized logistical stability, and refused to rush toward Berlin at the cost of massive casualties. Critics later argued that this allowed the Soviet Union to capture Berlin, but Eisenhower believed the preservation of life outweighed symbolic victories. Near the end of the war, Eisenhower ordered the documentation of Nazi concentration camps. He insisted that soldiers, journalists, and civilians witness the evidence firsthand, fearing future denial. This decision ensured that the horrors of the Holocaust would be preserved in historical record. After the war, Eisenhower served as Army Chief of Staff and later became the first Supreme Commander of NATO. In 1952, he entered politics and was elected President of the United States. As president, he ended the Korean War, stabilized the Cold War through deterrence, and avoided direct military confrontation with the Soviet Union. He also authorized covert CIA operations abroad, actions that remain controversial. Domestically, Eisenhower oversaw economic growth and launched the interstate highway system, reshaping American infrastructure. Toward the end of his presidency, he became increasingly concerned about the influence of defense industries and military institutions. In his 1961 farewell address, he warned of the dangers posed by the military-industrial complex, acknowledging that unchecked power could threaten democracy. Dwight D. Eisenhower died on March 28, 1969. He was not remembered as the most aggressive commander or charismatic politician, but as a leader defined by restraint, balance, and responsibility. His life demonstrated that true power lies not in force, but in control, and that the greatest leaders are often those who carry the heaviest burdens in silence. This is just one side of the war. For more, check out Battlefront stories and make sure to like the video and subscribe for upcoming episodes.